So with the latest episode of I Love LA, it pretty much follows up on what happened in episode 2 in terms of after Paulena releases a series of videos pretty much mainly attacking Tallulah, but then it's spreading out to attacking Dylan. Maya is forced to do some major damage control. Luckily, in terms of Dylan and his job, even though a lot of the parents who a lot of parents whose kids go to his school are a little bit high strung and kind of interesting. The Principal Sanchez, he finds out about Dylan doing coke through a meme that gets passed around, which makes, I think, Dylan become Coke Larry or Larry Coke or something like that. And pretty much all his principal cares about is getting some coke for himself, especially because he has a boys' trip coming up. So thankfully, that situation isn't going to cause Dylan to lose his job, but bad enough that Tallulah is freaking out. But now that Paulena is also kind of coming after Maya's man, she decides instead of going the route that Alyssa wants to go in terms of using this crisis manager named Victor, craft an apology, maybe send Tallulah off to rehab or some other type of nonsense which doesn't really fit with Tallulah's brand. It's decided by Maya that instead, let's just sick a crazy person on a crazy person. And after Tallulah has a nice dinner with this woman named Tessa who seemingly has a crush on her, she basically gives Tallulah the go-ahead to retort. And thankfully for Tallulah, Alani has awareness of Paulena in terms of Paulena's family formerly owning Rutgers Island in New York. Her father being somebody that is basically some type of warlord because he creates chemical weapons, so now he can't even be in the United States. And this information Tallulah uses in order to do her clapback, and after all is said and done, she gets a Balenciaga bag out of it. And I should note, there's one more piece of the puzzle, and it's not a Tallulah storyline, it's an individual storyline, and that's Charlie. Because he lost his job, Charlie finds himself no longer having the same privileges that he used to have, and he's desperate to get them back. So he's willing to try to come up as a nice gay person who was thrown away by a pop star, and unfortunately for him, it doesn't work well. And even though he tries to really even impress the waiter at Ginny's, which is the restaurant that Tessa owns and is the head chef of, it doesn't work. He just ends up giving a waiter a huge tip, and the problem is that waiter's not even gay. He's married and to a woman, and it just makes Charlie so frustrated with the fact that there's no quick way to get back into the graces and privileges that he used to enjoy. So getting to the V section, one of the things that I wish I Love LA would dip into more, fully recognizing this is more so a comedy and a satire, is I wish he would tap into the heart and the realness of these characters' lives. Like, watching Tessa and Tallulah flirt in the kitchen was a beautiful, cute moment, especially because there's real chemistry there, and the actress who plays Tessa, they got this sort of quiet intensity to them, which makes it so when it comes to Tallulah, who's this big character, seeing her kind of calm in this person's presence really makes you wish that this could have been explored more rather than focus on the hijinks of, this influencer war that Tallulah's in. And then when it comes to Maya, it's interesting to watch her be somebody's girlfriend and help her boyfriend with a bake sale for his school and things like that. It's something that you don't really see too often, and it gives a different layer to Maya beyond being this sort of... a part of me can't really blame Maya because Maya is the most normal one out of her friend group, but part of me really does wish that it wasn't normal in the terms of her being a straight man to all this chaos, but actually normal in terms of, yes, things may happen with Tallulah, with Alani, Charlie sometimes, but it wasn't like she's this boring one compared to them and their zany adventures. But I do hope, though, that eventually it does spread a bit more, so like we saw in the last episode with Charlie, he can still have some type of grounding. Maybe Alani may finally get some type of grounding, but I'm not keeping my hopes up on that. which leads to the on the fence topics. And the first one for me is that I kind of wonder if maybe it's just me. I love LA because maybe feel a little bit dated. For as much as influencers are still very much part of the culture and a lot of different brands use them for marketing, I don't know if it's still at its peak or not. I mean, there are a lot of people, 18, 19, 20-year-olds, who make a living doing this, and it's pretty much a good life seemingly for them. But I don't know if it's as big as it used to be to have a whole show that is about basically one influencer, their best friend who's managing them, and it still be something of interest. Because with the way that this show is, it's not really trying to do the behind the scenes. It's not trying to show the dark side and kind of be like a dramedy. It's purely comedy, and I feel like it's similar to when people have biopics coming out now. You already know all their business, everything that happened to them because of the internet. So to have a show which is supposed to be kind of based off of influencer life, even if it's a very fictitious and probably overblown way of showing it, it just doesn't feel like it hit as it could have back before influencers were starting to get network TV shows, becoming talk show hosts on actual television and not just on their channel and stuff like that. It just feels like the timing is not where it should have been in order for this to really pack a punch. Which leads to the last on the fence topic, and that's just, I feel like we have to double down a little bit on this whole Charlie and Alani and their potential not really being touched. If anything, it's kind of being taken away. With Charlie, his pursuit of privilege in this episode and how he was such a little nag about it, it took away of all the appeal that he kind of built up in episode 2 in terms of being in this world of entertainment, fashion, and stuff like that, and his struggles with not only that, but also with potentially romance and maybe having some type of commitment issue. A lot of things that could have made it so that he could have existed outside of a lot of the generic stuff that kind of plagues this show. And then with Alani, I'll admit, there is something special about her in terms of her being a very privileged black girl who doesn't look racially ambiguous. And on top of that, she gets to be straight up a black girl. She's not expected to be the one in the group who has all the answers, always has a plan ready. And while she does have a network, which and information that does help Tallulah in this episode, she's not the one who they can always run to because she has money, because she knows this person or that person. And a part of me really wants to appreciate her being a notable outlier, especially since she doesn't necessarily fit into that whole black best friend thing, token type situation either. But again, there's something, and maybe it's just with the comedy I like, where I need some type of root of realism in there in order to appreciate the comedy. And with this, it just feels that there's too much madness and no sense that these people are in a madhouse and that's their reality. It's just they're free, loose, going off the walls. And while Charlie did lose a job, I just don't feel like there's enough repercussions to kind of take these people back down to earth in order to show that there's something real here. And this isn't just a bunch of ideas that are just going off the rails sometimes. But overall, we're about halfway through the first season, and I think the good thing about I Love LA thus far is that we do want more from these characters. We're not just writing them off, so that's a good thing. We're clearly still invested. But the problem with that investment is, with the trajectory that we're on right now, it's hard to tell if we're going to get a return on that, and if this is going to become one of those shows which kind of, in the second half of the first season, shows that now that the characters are established and you kind of get a sense of their personality, let's dig deeper in a way that could actually make things more meaningful and make you truly want a second season.